Any second.
Hey everybody, it's Tim with the Attitude for Gratitude podcast, which you're tuned in for right now, and we're about to get this thing started. We are down here at Will Work for Recovery, 4026 Washington Avenue North. Come on down and check us out through the big window and watch the show or listen to it as you are right now. We are an RCO. Will Work for Recovery is an RCO, which is a recovery community organization. We are a resource center. We've got peer recovery specialists. We have a group that comes in here once a month called Gene Quest. I had them on the show, but they hand out new pairs of jeans. They have hundreds of different sizes, all the pairs. Like, we've got racks of clothing down here. There's food, there's job stuff. Like, we are a resource spot. So come on down here and you can get connected through that stuff. But there's so many different things going on at Will Work for Recovery. Every night of the week, we've got meetings. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are a bigger meeting. Wednesdays at 5 p.m., there's a men's meeting and a women's meeting, which I suggest to check out. Other than that, we're just doing so many things. Wednesday night, we've got Rule 62 podcast, which is an open door show. This show, throughout the summer, I've switched it up where the first 2 Fridays of the month, it's an open door show, just like the Wednesday show. You can come in here and share some of your story with Kevin. Otherwise, if you want to be a guest on the show with me, just reach out to me. My number's going across the top of the screen. And we can get you scheduled, like the show we're going to have tonight. It's going to be amazing. Like, buckle up. Other than that, like, I always stress this. Is like, if you're struggling, if you're going through it, if life's showing up, like, get connected. Come on down. Be part of, not apart from. Like, there's a lot going on down here, and you're worth it. Like, you're going to hear some stories in recovery that'll just let you know you're not alone. You don't have to be alone through this. Took a while for me to recognize that, but once I did realize, like, I'm not alone and I don't have to be alone, like, my life changed, and it's here for the taking. They talk about that, like, don't leave before the miracle happens. I'm just like, buckle up, because it's about to get real. But it is, it's a change, and, like, we're not always comfortable with change. I know I wasn't, but I had that gift of desperation. So we're not here to hear my story. We're here to talk about what you're about to embark on. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Share this show. We are on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and trying to break through to all them different platforms. But as always, like, if you are struggling, please reach out. Dial 988. Call Intergroup. Come on down here tonight till about midnight. Big O's doing recovery-okie. Like, that's really taken off, and people have such a blast singing karaoke. So get involved. Stay tuned. You're about to hear it.
And now we are live. The camera's on Misty. Let me turn this over so you guys can see my pretty face. Welcome to the Attitude for Gratitude podcast. And let's make sure you guys get to hear me when we do go live to me. We got Rick and Misty in the house. We're doing some step 11 stuff, and I think the promotional commercial there, I heard myself. Let me turn that off so I don't have an echo. I'm fumbling around, but we got sound. Awesome. And tonight we started early again. It's camper season, everyone. I got to be honest with you. I'm trying to have earlier shows so I can hit the road and be up north. It's 2-hour hike. I was just whining to them about it, like, but we get to do the show when it's available to have people in, and they were able to come in way earlier, and I ended up, and we didn't start till now. So sorry about that. As always, this is interactive. I don't know if the new commercial you guys just watched had me talking to you about being interactive. So throughout this talk tonight, if there's some things that we bring up and you have questions or you want them to elaborate on, or you want her to share some more about it or whatever, this is the time where you just type it in, or you can message me directly. My number's going across the top of the screen. I know a lot of you guys utilize that, but Rick and Missy are up for answering any type of questions that come in. We're really good about that. Other than that, all I ask of you, my audience, is to share the show, share it out to other platforms, talk about it. There is a QR code in the upper left corner, and that takes you to the YouTube page. So I know a lot of people, a lot of family members, they don't use the Facebook or the TikTok or Vine or whatever. That's enough of this. let's get after having a recovery solution-based podcast or show, whatever. Welcome back, my two favorite guests on a Friday night. And please introduce yourselves again.
I'm Rick.
Hey, Rick.
I'm Misty.
Hey, Misty. So we have, along our journey, we repeatedly go over the steps. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about some side note that I didn't have in the promo. You guys that do a lot of service work, we kind of shared about this before when we were speaking, but going to mission, detox, doing a lot of stuff. But I know you guys do something on a Wednesday night. Would you guys like to share about that real quick and tell our audience where and when and what it is, please?
It's a 4-step workshop at 2218 First Avenue South. It's in the auditorium every Wednesday night at 6:30. You can come anytime. We're going through the big book, the inventory, in chapter 5.
6:30 p.m. You can bring a big book, but they have printed out sheets of chapter 5. So really, you can just show up at any time. It's 7 weeks continuous, typically.
Doesn't matter when you come
Yeah,
in.
it doesn't matter. Rick is pretty good at catching you up.
And I have a question because last week, the week before last, I had someone on in there talking about a 4-step workshop they went to, and it was like school where you couldn't speak up or nothing. Is this a type of a workshop you just sit and listen the whole time? Or
No.
All right, come on, break it down a
We
little.
encourage people to interact.
It's actually better.
A lot of these
when
people want to just talk at you. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's better when they interact. There's a lot of things that other people experience that maybe have questions on, and it's when they bring that up, it's easier to kind of go through what the steps are.
No, that's cool. I have right now. I only have you two on the camera, so I'm not that rude where I'd be sitting here eating pizza on camera. I'm having dinner, lunch, and breakfast right now. Healthy pizza. But good. Thank you guys for sharing about that, because I think it was 2 weeks ago when we were talking about it. Someone wrote a question about, hey, where's a good 4-step workshop? And I always think about the one at 2218.
Well, we're just using the big book. Some of these other workshops do the 12 and 12 in the big book, and they're doing Joe and Charlie, basically, who used to do a big book seminar around the country. They're using their worksheets, and we don't do that. We're not doing Joe and Charlie. We're doing the big book. Because there's a difference, believe it or not.
What do you mean there's a difference?
Well, their sheets don't line up with the book, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're trying to write an inventory off of the sheets that they're using, especially the fear and the conduct inventory, they're inventorying it like the resentment. It's not that way in the book.
You guys are 4-step workshop out of the big book. Straight.
Yeah, just out of the big book.
And it is an interactive workshop. So you're not there to just sit and be talked to. It's you have questions, you speak up. It's very interactive. So, and you, like Misty said, you can come anytime. Doesn't matter if they're just started or not. So just keep that in mind. 2218 First Avenue South, over at the Minneapolis Alano Club at 6:30.
6:30 p.m. to 7:45.
Perfect. All right. So what is step 11?
Well, in the big book, it's on page 85, right at the bottom of the page.
So I'll real quick read. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. That's the most reading I'm doing. Now it's battery's up.
You want me to go?
You want me to turn the lights on?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no, matter of fact, it's that first one. I want to make the dog crazy, but if you want to just slide back and turn that
I'm
first
okay with
switch.
it.
No, it's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. So bottom of page 85, step 11, suggests prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be shy on this matter of prayer. Better men than us are using it constantly. It works if we have the proper attitude and work at it. It would be easy to be vague about this matter. Yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. I love this part. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving toward all?
Of course.
What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time?
Of course.
Or were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others.
Isn't that interesting, Bill? So the reason you don't want to drift into that is because you couldn't be useful to others. It's not because it's going to harm you. It diminishes your ability to help anybody else.
After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken.
See, that almost sounds like step 10 in a way.
I was going to ask that. So when they're talking about at the end, when we retire at night, oh, and there we go, my page just came on up. When we retire at night, we constructively view our day. Isn't that what we do with step 10? Basically, every night we're supposed to kind of do a step 10?
Yeah.
Okay. How is this different?
We're reading about step 11. That's how it's different.
Is this where we got our direction to do what we do for step 10?
Well, it came in step 10 basically said something similar to this.
You guys know I'm asking.
What's that?
You know I do this to ask
Yeah.
them. All right, good. All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm not the dumbass that sounds. All right, good. Just,
You're not?
no, I am. Thank you for the love, everyone. No, go ahead. Sorry.
But it sounds similar. It's the same kind of ideas,
Right.
but it's a way of meditating in a sense.
Yeah, it's, for me, like the sentence, but we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection. When I do that, I'm catching myself more so, but when I have done that, especially at work, if I get nervous or my thoughts are all over the place and I'm scattered and I can't focus, and bringing myself to this calm place and realizing like this isn't the end of the world. I can handle it, slowing myself down. It just seems to go a lot smoother than when I jump into this worry. Like I don't understand this. I'm not going to understand this.
It's like when you got the darkness. If you indulge the negative, when you indulge in negativity, things are worse.
Right. It's almost like dark, like you said, darkness. It just kind of closes in. You can't see because you're just in a spot of panic. At least that's how I feel when I am. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. For after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives.
Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is clear of wrong motives. Kind of going to what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I always say when I'm God conscious, things are just going better.
Yeah.
Which for me, when I'm positive, things are better. I wake up and I'm like, this is shitty. Today's gonna be shitty.
Yeah.
For usually. Rewinding a little bit, kind of going to step 10, and I don't know if I talked about this the last time we were on step 10, but when they talk about when we retire at night, we do our little inventory of the day where we wronged anyone, this, that, the third. Do we also want to make it a point to
to the good.
Yes. Do we?
Yeah.
I mean, that's we
Well,
do
Bill,
want to
Bill
recognize,
talks about that in the 12 and 12.
and not ego, but we don't want to forget to not break my wrist, pat myself on the back, but we got to not forget where we have done better,
Right. And
right?
But
practice makes
that
perfect.
stuff isn't killing you.
What we're trying to work on is the stuff that's killing us.
Mhm.
No, that's it. That's the answer I needed.
But have we kept something to ourselves? Yeah, that's that when we were retiring at night. Then on awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for today. So then before you begin, we ask God to direct our thinking. Yeah. So it's just a way of starting your day that way, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives.
I mean, I used to start my day like waking up in the morning and thinking about what I needed to do, and if anything diverted from what I was on my checklist, I'd freak out because I was
Start the
getting
day off in worry and panic.
yeah. I had a checklist and I needed to get done what I needed to get done, and I didn't like anyone messing with my time or anything like that.
So this is talking about, though, not trying to not have those thoughts, but it's talking about asking God to direct your thinking. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with insurance. For after all, God gave us brains to use. So it's not about not thinking. You hear that kind of nonsense around AA rooms sometimes, Don't think. That's not what this is saying. And yet, I've seen people with lots of sobriety talk this way, I saw one guy with 40 some years of sobriety, and I asked him how he was doing. He says, "Well, I've been thinking," and he was talking about how crazy his mind was. I thought, wow, don't you ever get over that?
Right.
I mean, my God, what I shouldn't think, or I'm that's the way he put it. Like he shouldn't think. Like, how are you going to not think?
Yeah.
I thought it was really strange.
Kind of dark.
So we're redirecting our minds. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. For after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane, so your life is basically thought. And then you hear people say stupid things like, don't think. My best thinking got me here. No, my worst thinking got me here. Not everything I ever thought before AA was wrong, I mean, it's such a put down when we talk to newcomers this way.
Come
I
on.
think it's awful. I really do. I
It's
don't
a
like it.
deterrent.
Well, it's just a put down. Like there's something wrong. There's something wrong with you, And of course, I'll fix you. I'll sponsor you and fix you. What a bunch of nonsense.
Well, and a lot of that, I mean, that not gives AA a bad name and hope, but it does. It's a deterrent when you get people like that.
When I sobered up at 2218, it was in 1987. So, last part of 87. These guys were all second generation AA people. They sobered up in the 50s and in the 60s. So those are the guys that I was interacting with. None of those guys ever talked down to you. They never said your best thinking got you here, all this crap. They just didn't talk that way. Okay. They were respectful of people, especially new people. They didn't want to push them away because they were acting arrogant, that sort of thing. They were very conscious of that sort of thing, I remember this one guy, Gene, one guy comes into the meeting, and it was a men's group. It was all old timers. I was the only one who was fairly young. And they were all 20, 30 years sober and 20, 30 years older than I was. But this one guy came in, and you could see he really wasn't serious about it. He went to a few meetings, but he wasn't serious about it. And Gene looks at him and says, if you're not interested in this way of life, get out of here, because this is going to ruin your drinking. You will never drink reasonably again.
Wasn't mean about it. Just a matter of fact.
It was just he knew that, this ain't going to help you. It's going to make your drinking worse. But our thought life So our life is based in thought. We'll be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. What are wrong motives? Selfish, right? For me, personal.
Hi, Jessica. Sorry, we got it. And hi, Ezra. They said hi to you guys.
Hi, Jessica.
Elyz. However you say that. Elyz. Sorry for
Eliza?
Eliza. Yeah. Hi, Eliza and Jess. I interrupted you. Sorry about that.
No.
I think he was done with that.
Well, all right.
All right, perfect. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought or decision. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. We are often surprised how the right answers come after we have tried this for a while.
Yeah. And they do. You start to become capable of dealing with things. One of the first promises that came true for me was I was intuitively able to handle situations that used to baffle me. I just was able to, things were changing. I didn't even understand it. I didn't believe in God. It wasn't like that, you know.
When I think that's important too, that people share like what you just said, kind of based on the conversation we're having before the podcast about situations that were happening with a specific someone. But I think that's important. Like you're in here sharing, like you were already seeing some of these promises and you didn't believe in God at this time.
No.
You're a militant atheist.
Right.
So you're, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay. So, yep.
It says in here, you know, here we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought or decision. That was just happening to me. I didn't have to ask for it. It was already occurring. If I could get my crap out of the way, my own selfishness, my desires to have things that I wanted, something else was happening. Something else was working.
It clears your head.
Yeah. Just a matter of clearing out your mind a little bit. So this can
Work.
Yeah. But if you believe in a power, that's great. I didn't. And I couldn't do some of this stuff because of it, you know. But it was happening to me either way. It didn't matter what I believed.
I mean, end of the day, we can say it's because you were showing up.
Well, there was nowhere else to go. I mean, I really had, my life was devastated. I had nothing left. And, you know, I was depressed because of all the loss that I had. And it was terrible early on. And when I'm reading this now, I'm thinking as I'm reading this is all really basically for people who don't know anything about AA. And these are first instructions of how to start to think about some of this stuff, you know?
What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind.
Yeah, pretty soon you just know how to handle things that used to baffle you.
The new normal.
Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We may pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it.
Now, this stuff was written from experience. And, you know, I can show you out of the 12 and 12 why I think Bill wrote what he just wrote. First of all, Bill had a problem with Frank Buchman, who was head of the Oxford groups. And the Oxford groups were a Christian movement that was what the AA people, or the before AA, were trying to sober up in the Oxford groups. Bill didn't like Frank Buchman because Buchman, who was head of the Oxford groups that came out of England, felt that he was inspired all the time. Now, I don't know if you've ever been around a guy who thinks he's inspired all the time, but that can really get quite strange. But it says, being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. Okay? You might think you're being inspired. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. I'll read you something out of the 12 and 12, and it comes in the second tradition. And it's an interesting thing why Bill wrote some of the things. When you start to look at the history of AA, you can kind of see why they wrote the things that they wrote. In tradition 2, I'm gonna read a little bit. It won't take a lot, but I think it'll show you why he's writing some of the things we just read. Tradition 2 is, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. So that's tradition 2.
That's right.
Okay? Now, I'm not going to start from the beginning. I'm going to go in here a little bit. Now it's on page 136 of the 12 and 12 in tradition 2.
This book right here.
You said 136?
136. And this is worth hearing, I think.
Yeah, I think it's real. A lot of good stuff comes out of this 12 and 12. We get some depth out
Well,
of
in
it.
the traditions, I wouldn't sidestep the traditions
At
because there's illustrations of why things were written
Right.
and you know why they wrote the big book the way they did. Now, this is obviously before the 12 and 12 was written. This is when Bill was brand new. One day I was doing a 12-step job at a hospital in New York. The proprietor, Charlie, summoned me to his office. Bill, he said, I think it's a shame that you are financially so hard up. All around you, these drunks are getting well and making money, but you're giving this work full time and you're broke.
Mhm.
It isn't fair. Charlie fished in his desk and came up with an old financial statement. Handing it to me, he continued, this shows the kind of money the hospital used to make back in the 1920s. Now, this would have been probably around 1935.
Yeah.
Okay. Thousands of dollars a month. It should be doing just as well now, and it would if only you'd help me. Now, why would Bill feel responsible to help Charlie? Because Charlie, that's where they were sobering up all the drunks, and that's where, you know, this is where
Where it was happening.
yeah, where Bill had his spiritual experience, and
Okay.
you know. So why don't you move your work in here? I'll give you an office, a decent drawing account, and a very healthy slice of the profits. 3 years ago, when my head doctor, Silkworth, began to tell me of the idea of helping drunks by spirituality, I thought it was crackpot stuff. But I've changed my mind. Someday this bunch of ex-drunks of yours will fill Madison Square Garden.
Which
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did too. This is very prophetic.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't see why you should starve meanwhile. What I propose is perfectly ethical. Now think of these words. It's ethical, okay? Perfectly ethical. You can become a lay therapist and more successful than anybody in the business. Well, that'll touch your ego, won't it? That'll grab your ego. I was bowled over. There were a few twinges of conscience. See, he's already got some sense that
Right.
this is not a good idea. Until I saw how really ethical Charlie's proposal was. Ethical. Here it comes again now. It's ethical. There was nothing wrong, whatever, with becoming a lay therapist. I thought of Lois coming home exhausted from the department store each day, only to cook supper for a house full of drunks who weren't paying board. I thought of the large sum of money still owing my Wall Street creditors. I thought of a few of my alcoholic friends who were making as much money as ever. Why shouldn't I do as well as they? Although I asked Charlie for a little time to consider it, my own mind was about made up. Now listen to this one. Racing back to Brooklyn on the subway, I had a seeming flash of divine guidance. Isn't that interesting? Seeming flash of divine guidance. It was only a single sentence, but most convincing. In fact, it came right out of the Bible. Well, of course it did. A voice kept saying to me, "The laborer is worthy of his hire." Arriving home, I found Lois cooking as usual, while three drunks looked hungrily on from the kitchen door. I drew her aside and told the glorious news. She looked interested, but not as excited as I thought she should be. She's the only one working.
Right.
I mean, this is...
Department store all day and they cook
Yep.
for a bunch of drunks at the house.
Yep, that's right. It was meeting night. Now, it's interesting how it was meeting night. It just happened to coincide with that. Although none of the alcoholics we boarded seemed to get sober, some others had. With their wives, they crowded into our downstairs parlor. At once, I burst into the story of my opportunity. I shall never forget the impassive faces and the steady gaze they focused upon me. With waning enthusiasm, my tail trailed off to the end. There was a long silence. Boy, listen to this one now. This is great. Almost timidly, one of my friends began to speak. "We know how hard up you are, Bill. It bothers us a lot. We've often wondered what we might do about it. But I think I speak for everyone here when I say what you now propose bothers us an awful lot more." Yeah.
Oh,
The speaker's voice grew more confident. "Don't you realize," he went on, "that you can never become a professional? As generous as Charlie has been to us, don't you see that we can't tie this thing up with his hospital or any other? You tell us that Charlie's proposal is ethical. Sure, it's ethical, but what we've got won't run on ethics alone. It has to be better. Sure, Charlie's idea is good, but it isn't good enough. This is a matter of life and death, Bill, and nothing but the very best will do." Challengingly, my friends looked at me as their spokesman continued. "Bill, haven't you often said right here in this meeting that sometimes the good is the enemy of the best?
Woo.
Well, this is a plain case of it. You can't do this thing to us."
Oh.
So spoke the group conscience. The group was right and I was wrong. The voice on the subway was not the voice of God. Here was the true voice welling up out of my friends. I listened and thank God I obeyed.
God was thin.
Boy, you talk about a principled guy. Now, I go back to what we read here a minute ago. Okay. Where were we here?
86.
We were
87.
Yeah,
we're in 87.
second paragraph, I think.
Yeah. So it says, we usually, no, it's up above.
Yeah.
What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Now, being still inexperienced, that this is Bill now,
Right.
and having just made conscious contact with a God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. See what this is?
Right.
You can see how these
That's
are
a direct-
connected.
yeah.
There's a connection.
Writing this out of that experience. Or vice versa.
He's been trying to climb up on me.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
These
guy.
are both it's the service animal right here. Your emotional support animal.
You can see.
Oh,
Yeah. But that's why this stuff is written the way it is, because of experiences like that.
I'm glad you
know?
took us back to that story out of that or tradition too, because you're right. The direct correlation is right here. You're reading it.
Yeah. So, nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration we come to rely upon.
We'll make you famous. Huh? I zoomed all the way in on his face. We come to rely upon it.
We usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer that we be shown all through the day what our next step is to be.
Now, what should I do?
That we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We ask especially for freedom from self-will and are careful to make no request for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why.
Well, I couldn't
I
easily
couldn't
see why.
either. When I first read this, I didn't. My mom asked me when I was reading her this. She's like, "Well, why?" And I'm like, "I don't know why."
Well, because it's for you personally.
Selfish reason.
It's not for others. And this is really designed to bring yourself into maximum service.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just read about it in the third paragraph.
Yeah.
So we ask especially for freedom from self-will and careful to make no request for ourselves only. You'll find yourself doing this. This is a mistake because literally it's just a waste of time. It's like you're praying to get something.
Yeah.
In other words, what you're really saying is, I'm lacking.
In a roundabout way, it's exactly what you're doing.
But you're not lacking. You have everything. God has already given you everything. You have everything and don't know it because you won't give it away. By giving it away, you recognize that you already have it.
Yeah.
You already have everything.
This is mind blowing. Not mind blowing, but when it was explained to me, and I don't know who it came from, I didn't get it out of the book. It was someone like you that had explained exactly. And it's like, for me, it was. Because it makes sense. And it came to fruition.
If you want to say something.
Well, I just remember like Rick would say that to me. It was about 2 years ago. I felt I was scared about money, and I was financially like thinking, I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. And he kept reminding me, you have everything.
That's
right
a prayer.
now.
Right there is a prayer. I don't have enough. And guess what? You're praying to validate what you believe.
Right.
You don't have enough.
And I was in panic, and I had enough. You have enough.
We don't see what's right in front of us.
Yeah, and I'm worried about the future, and that's where I go. And he's like,
I don't know. I mean, is that a broken, drunk brain or whatever that I couldn't see that before? I mean, what you just said, like, that's your prayer. I don't have enough. Well,
What are you saying? I'm validating and asking to not have enough.
how does a guy even get to the thought of having
You're
that?
praying from lack, and you have no lack. There is no lack. It's only in your mind that you think you're lacking.
Is that a bondage of self? Or, I mean,
Yeah,
what
of
is
course it is. Absolutely.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Rim shot.
Look, if let's just, for the sake of what the hell here.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, you have everything.
Yep.
You've been created. You're literally an extension of that creator. Okay. So really, all you can do is extend love, because that's the only thing that's in your source. Your source is God, which is love. Not the kind of love we generally talk about. Okay, so now let's say that you have everything, and now you're praying from a sense of lack. What are you doing? You're validating your sense of lack and separation from God. But you're not separate from God. But you're validating it by saying, I need something and I'm lacking. And then using prayer. This is nonsense.
I want to say, and you're trying to cheat or trying to, you know what I don't know.
Manipulate.
I'm trying to get God to validate that I'm really separate
Yeah,
from him and that I'm lacking. And you're not lacking.
See that? Yeah. I don't know the part where how I'm even trying to keep wording this, but it's like to come to that epiphany or to, I don't know where along the line that happened where I realized what you're explaining right now. And it was a part of bondage of self, I guess. But it seems so when it's explained, it's like, yeah, like, duh.
Gratitude. Gratitude's the only prayer that I would ever do today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Dear Lord, thank you.
Yeah.
I find myself, thank you for the life I have today. That's a big part of my prayers. That's it. Thank you for the life that I have today.
Or just maybe thank you for my relationship with you. I mean, I started doing a gratitude list when I was newly sober, and I still do this. I do transcendental meditation, and I was going to talk a little bit about that, but I do TM, and my sponsor taught it. And transcendental meditation, you take a half a minute of silence before you start your mantra, and then you do 2 minutes of silence at the end. And I would take that 2 minutes without the mantra and start to do a gratitude list of all the people that I was grateful for. I mean, the difficult people, because those are the people who helped me grow. It wasn't the, I remember hearing somewhere, what do you got when you love the people you love? Nothing. Anybody can do that. But can you love the person you can't stand, or that you think had harmed you or something?
That's kind of what I was saying when I was telling you some of my most growth has came from
people who are difficult.
People.
Of course.
And it's usually not till after that I realize it.
So I would do this gratitude list, especially with those people that were difficult for me. And I would always, when I got through with the list of gratitude, I would always say, and thank you for my life just the way it is.
Content.
Not with her or this job or something else, just the way it is. Now, I didn't believe it when I started doing that, but I came to believe it as I kept doing it. And I started to see, you're not praying from a sense of lack when you're doing that. Gratitude's a big deal.
You should really practice having an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
I feel like I tied that in.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There.
So many of us have wasted a lot of time on doing that, praying for your own selfish ends. And it doesn't work.
Page.
What's that?
I said, Ollie, move my page. I'm
We're on
not
80. What?
87. You can easily see why. See, I can easily see why now, but I couldn't at first.
And that's what I'm always big about the timelines of where did this take place throughout your journey.
This is all for people who are brand new, right? Just starting to look at these ideas.
But you just shared about, and if I heard you right, you were saying that you were doing this before you really believed it.
I did a lot of things right by mistake. Not because I knew what I was doing. I was being guided and I didn't even realize it. I've been guided a lot throughout my sobriety and I had no awareness of God at all.
It's so important that you share that stuff.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing what was in front of me. And what was coming at me was to do 12-step work, to go out and put meetings. I just never said no. And I never let anything get in the way of that. Relationships. Oh, this has caused problems. Oh, yeah. Get somebody on the other side of that relationship wants you to do something else. I'm not going to give look, I made a commitment that 3 weeks sober. I said, I'll do anything. I'm not living like this anymore.
Right.
And
I hope you're out there listening to what he's saying.
I'm not going to live that way anymore. And I was totally selfish and totally self-willed because of my atheism. So I made a commitment. I'll do anything. And then the compulsion to use was removed. It was tremendous spiritual.
We had a gentleman on named John from an organization, which I forgot to mention, Just Hope. It's a good organization that they've really been getting involved in the recovery community. But he and I were in a roundabout way talking about your story, about a guy we knew, there's a guy I know who he shares about. He was in the dumps in his early recovery and he went to do some service work. And it was one of the first times, and I may have had it wrong, but that he felt some relief from depression and he was feeling good. And it was from doing that service work, and he kept going back. And we were both talking.
Wasn't that what you do with drugs?
That's absolutely right.
It's the same thing.
But wasn't that your story? Isn't that what you shared about.
Well, yeah, I wasn't doing it to work a program.
That's yes.
I wasn't even thinking about working a program to do it. I saw the value in doing it for me.
Right.
It helped me.
Guided.
So yeah, we'll talk more about that in step 12.
Stay tuned.
But
It was kind of funny because we're both sitting here telling Rick's story without trying to break anonymity, and then actually shows you talking about booming boots. I was like, yeah, I'm like, it's funny, small world.
But you'll start to realize that spirit is working through you. I've had it happen a lot to me along the way where I was just directed, I was guided. Not that it said go do this or that. It was an urge to go somewhere. When I wanted to go somewhere else, I was drawn to go there, and it wasn't in Rick's best interest. I didn't even know why I wanted to go there. I was drawn to it, but I really wanted to go the other way because I wanted to go shopping and do something for me.
What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
You have a really good story, and I don't about someone that you had a conflict with at the club.
That's basically what this was. You see, I was living over by the freeway on 36th and 35W, just west of there. And I was driving. I wanted to go out to Edina to this store, and I'm driving over to the freeway. And the freeway entrance, I had a feeling that I should go to the club, but I really was. It was strong too, and I didn't know why I wanted to go there. But I didn't want to go there. I wanted to go out to Edina. So
what part of your recovery? How did you?
I'm maybe 5-6 months old.
Okay, all right, sorry.
So I'm going to the freeway. I'm going to take. In fact, I wasn't even at probably about 3 months over, because this was during when I was part of the alumni. And I go to turn onto the freeway. Go south on 35W, and I just turned onto the freeway, and then the urge to go the other way is so strong. I turned and went off of the entrance ramp back the other way. So I only got maybe 20 feet onto the entrance ramp going south. And then I swung around and I drove down to the club. Now, I don't even know why I was going there. I have no idea what this is. But I go down to the club and I walk in the door, and there's a woman sitting in the dining area that I have a conflict with from this alumni association. And she was pissed at, she didn't like me or something. I don't even know what it was. But anyway, there was a conflict, and I had come back from Mexico with my sponsor, and the talk was to save the alumni from me. I ended up president because I was vice president. Yeah. And there was a lot of BS in this thing, So anyway, she was part of this negativity toward me, and I don't even know why they had it, but anyway, she's sitting down, and I could see she was in trouble. She was hurting, and I sat down with her at the table, and I started to talk to her, and I just went to help. I just was trying to help because she was hurting, and everything changed. The whole relationship changed. The understanding of what went on. We talked about some things. Everything melted, and we just became friends.
And that was just from some urge.
And I wanted to go somewhere else, so I was drawn to that.
Were you in tune with self at that point? I mean,
I wasn't in tune with anything.
Right? No, I mean, you just shared about transcendental meditation. Like, that's why I was asking, where were you at in your journey? Because this was.
I was just thinking I might have been. Trying to think. I think it was the first time I went to Mexico with Joseph. I might have been 3 months.
And the reason I asked too is because this is before you had your spiritual journey.
No, that happened 3 weeks ago. You're talking about the awakening I had?
Yeah, that
didn't convert me either. I was still on.
No, that's what I mean. This is before you had a belief in whatever this.
Yeah, something else that.
Almost.
I've said this in here before, but I think it's important. I just think this is important today because there's so much stupid stuff that goes on around sponsorship, around AA rooms. that people are just scared to ask somebody to sponsor them, and I don't blame them. I felt that way too when I first got sober. So before I met my sponsor, I was just doing the inventories. I did all the work. I didn't need a sponsor to teach me. I didn't need somebody to spoon feed me this. I picked up the big book and I just did it, and I had a profound experience. But my sponsor said to me on many occasions, I never saw anything but good in you. Now, this really flies in the face of what people are doing around our fellowship right now, because what they're doing is they're looking at their sponsees for what's wrong with them and trying to fix them, in a sense, like we're junior psychiatrists or something. That's not what my sponsor did. He said, I never saw anything but good in you. And what's interesting? He said this to me many times along the way. It never really sunk in until just the last few years that I was thinking about this. I never saw anything but good in him either. We didn't have that kind of a negative, I'm up here, you're down here, I'm going to teach you something. It wasn't like that. We were just sharing ideas, listening to tapes, going to conferences, speaking at places. I'd bring them out to the alumni. I'd bring them over there to speak. I was pushing them all the time. He happened to be a TM teacher. He taught me TM. And he taught me to teach it because we didn't want to lose it.
I'm grateful.
That's a profound process of meditation. In fact, Bill Wilson, I was looking on my phone to see if I could find it. I think it's called Conscious Contact. Do you have that on your phone?
Somewhere.
I do. I have it.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
You should put that up on this podcast thing so that a link to it. But Bill Wilson, right before he died, I remember hearing him say, if there was one area of my life I would have spent more time on, it would have been formal meditation.
Yeah, the documentary.
Yeah, then I find out, I just found this out in the last year, that Bill Wilson, right before he died, a year, probably his last year of life, somebody taught him transcendental meditation.
Yeah,
He was meditating. So it makes sense why he made that statement, that he would have spent more time if he wished he would have spent more time on a formal way of meditating.
Yeah, that documentary has so many awards. And
If you could put that
there's rights, trademark rights that for
you
me,
can't do that.
I can maybe do it through my YouTube, but I can't. Facebook won't let me.
Add it.
But it's BS stuff. I'm sure I could reach out to the people at the documentary and see what the price would be for me to be able to do it. Because they look at it as me. That's why they booted me out of Gopher State 4 years ago. I did the podcast at the 2218 booth, and an hour in, someone came down and asked it, but they thought it was a monetary. I should have spoke with them ahead of time. It'd been fine, but they thought that this podcast was a monetary value
monetized
podcast. Our buddy Chucky's in town.
So anyway, but that thing, you can always get a hold of Tim, and he can maybe send you.
Yes, and I'm going to put it in the comment section right now.
You can look it up. Yeah.
Yes, and matter of fact, here I'll show you guys. Right, it's this right here. It's the documentary, the film. Right here, I'll zoom in. I'll put some in the comment section, but it is good, and it's the documentary.
It's just about what happened with that, and I didn't know anything about that, but I understand TM real well, But anyway, Joseph never saw anything but good in me, and I never saw anything but good in him. We just did not have this kind of a relationship. I didn't need him to spoon feed me AA. I used the book. I let the book sponsor me early on. That's before I met him. But that was a very different experience than what people are having, or, because for some reason, the sponsors seem to think that they have a job to spoon feed people everything.
Yeah.
We read in our workshop, we read the big book, we read chapter 5 and go through that. We're trying to help them, and that's probably what sponsorship would be just to share the ideas.
I'm not here to fix you.
Not here to fix you. We're just going to show you a process for God to fix you.
There.
if you need any fixing at all. How about if I quit looking at you as needing to be fixed?
Yeah. 'Cause all I'm going to see in you that's wrong is what's wrong with me.
Oh, yeah. Not good.
Going in the air.
Confucius.
Yeah,
If you go to bed with an itchy butt, you wake up with a smelly finger. Confucius. We got to have some cracking jokes here.
Wait, you forgot. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe no one knows. Now we know it's
Now
a
it's
joke.
a joke.
Now it's a joke.
I don't know if Confucius said that. Huh? That was not bad. Got a smell. Look at this. Yeah. Woo woo. We still got a half a paragraph left.
so
Okay. If circumstances warrant, we ask our wives or friends to join us in morning meditation.
that's what Bill was doing when he was living with Dr. Bob. Lois was in New York, and he was living with Dr. Bob, and Dr. Bob and his wife were very religious people, and that's what they would do. These sentences are written because of their experiences.
If we belong to a religious domination, which requires a definite morning devotion, we attend to that also.
That's what they were doing.
If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. There are many helpful books also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what they offer.
I was always quick to see where they were wrong.
Hmm.
I
Where
mean,
were
that's,
you?
those sentences
Oh,
right
right.
now.
Okay. No, I see.
87.
I see.
Last paragraph.
As we go through is the next one. As we
Yep.
go. Yeah. Okay.
As we go through the day, we pause. When agitated or doubtful, we ask for the right thought or action. That's what I started practicing early on, and it worked.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer in running the show.
Mm.
Humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, "Thy will be done."
And that was an Oxford group idea.
What does that mean? Thy will be done.
God's will
God's
be
will.
done,
Okay.
not mine.
It was an Oxford idea.
Yeah, that's where they got that from.
We are then much less. Oh wait, we are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. But this is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead.
Ooh.
Damn. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12.
Faith without works is dead. Is faith without works mean not practicing or no, having knowledge of something and then speaking on it? Is that a form of faith without works is dead? Speaking on something I have no knowledge about.
Well, what's new? That's what every alcoholic does. You can always tell an alcoholic, you just can't tell them much. That's a joke. So we don't tell at all. We just share what we did. So different, you know. That Jim W., I heard a tape of him back in the 80s. And he said that if anybody's giving you advice in AA, it's not AA.
It's not AA.
We don't give advice.
No.
What do? We share our experience, strength, and hope. We tell what we did. We don't tell anybody else what to do.
It's really important, and I think that's part of what you, and this is a blanket statement over kind of what you talk about, where we see a lot of problems with sponsorship and what the things that are happening in AA. I notice that a lot, especially when I travel. I've been going to some out of town meetings, and you're hearing a lot of advice. And it's like the group has come together on a different. They just veered to a different way of telling people how it is instead of reading it out of the book.
Well, instead of sharing what they did, what did you do? Or, that's why my group at 2218 on Thursdays, we draw cards the night of the meeting to see who's going to present the step. And then whoever draws a high card rolls a 12-sided die, and that's the step. So it's spontaneous.
Nice.
The reason that was done was to keep the planning out of it, so that you couldn't go home and study. We weren't, I don't want to hear about you studying what Bill Wilson said. I want to hear how you worked the step. What did you do? That's the whole purpose of that process, was to get the crap out of the meeting, instead of that studying stuff and giving you theories. And this is what I think about it. Who cares what you think about it? What did you do? Tell me how
What
you
did
worked
you do
it.
about it? Yeah.
How did you work it? That's what I want to know.
Makes me think I was at one of these same meetings up north. A guy said he was just sharing about whatever, and in a way talking not so much negatively about another meeting, but he's like, I'm not here. I saw a lady taking notes for her share. He's like, I'm not here to hear your notes on your share. I don't know. He went on and on about that, but he shared the same thing about what you just said. And
Well, and if you're interested, Bill talked in the 12 and 12 in step 11. He uses an example of the St. Francis prayer. There's different versions of this prayer. There's a couple different versions. I really like the one that's in the 12 and 12 the best. And I learned it by heart. And I would do this in that 2 minutes of
your downtime at the end.
at the end of the TM.
Yeah.
And it's on page 99 in the 12 and 12. I think it's on 99.
Nothing finer than 99er, God's help.
Yeah. And I learned this by heart. And it takes about 2 minutes to recite it. But then I would sit and I would think about it. And I would think about what it was saying.
Lord, make me a channel, that one?
Yeah. And I really think this is the best version of it. But I would think this. And it takes a couple minutes. And then I'd drop into thinking about what he's talking about. Because it says, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love. Ooh. So this is all about bringing something, not getting. Where there is hatred, I may bring love. I'd say this twice a day coming out of TM. That where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness. Instead of joining the person in the grievances and stuff, how about if I bring a spirit of forgiveness to it? That where there is discord, I may bring harmony. That where there is error, I may bring truth. Not reinforce the error. That where there is doubt, I may bring faith. That where there is despair, I may bring hope. That where there are shadows, I may bring light. That where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted. Think about that. You're trying to get comforted? No, the way to do it is to comfort someone. To understand than to be understood. That unlocks resentment. Always trying to get people to understand me. I don't give a damn.
It's being the director.
Yeah. To love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds. It's talking about your ego self. It is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. Amen. See, that prayer is not asking for anything other than to give, to be helpful.
I think of this prayer like when I was married and trying to get my husband to love me. And because Rick would talk about this a little bit, like trying to take love, trying to steal love.
You can't.
And you don't feel it. And I remember being so depressed and sad and manipulating different ways to try to get someone to what I defined as love. And it wasn't love.
And the answer was to give it.
Give it, yeah. And I
You
think
feel it by giving.
when I feel like I'm taking, I'm trying to reverse that.
Well, and that's
See, the problem is when you try and take love,
Mm-hmm.
you feel less love.
You do.
Okay.
Laugh.
The only way you can feel love is to give love.
Yeah.
It's the only way you'll feel it. So if you're trying to take love from someone, you're literally taking from yourself because you're acknowledging that you're lacking.
Got
Yeah.
it ring through.
That's right. Which makes you what? More desperate.
Mm-hmm.
Want to take more.
Down
Which,
the hole you go.
which what? Makes it even worse.
Mhm.
And the more you try and do it, the more you literally are devastating your own mind.
Yeah, and
That's a downfall. Like, go ahead.
The only way you
when I
can-
feel that now, I know that I know from experience what that is. I'm trying to take.
Yeah.
Well, it's all over in our culture, you know. I mean, it's
Well, that's part of why not to get political or religious, but I don't watch TV, period. The news, that shit, it's nothing happy. I don't know. It's a whole different conversation.
I
But the
agree.
concept of I want love, I got to give love.
Mhm.
I want forgiveness, I need to forgive.
Yeah.
You know, forgive those who may trespass against me. I need to do the forgiving. I need to do the loving. I need to do the caring. Because it's selfishly, it comes back to me.
Yeah.
Oh, you kids, this is the best. I'm looking forward to step 12. I know we're wrapping up. So
Yeah.
I need you to give me a number 1 through 75.
Ooh, cutting it shorter.
Yeah, them last 25 are
75.
75, huh? All right. Misty, if you had a time machine, would you go back in time or into the future?
I actually have been thinking a lot about that.
You've been thinking about that.
Yeah, about like the mistakes that I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like I
Yeah.
made and trying to learn growth. And I'm coming up on my 30th year for from high school, and we're having a party in August. And I think about like all the good times and what I would do differently.
Yeah,
I'd go back.
go back.
I would go back.
All right. Rick, future or past?
If I
If you had to go either in the future or in the past.
future,
Future. Nice. Nice.
always.
What are you gonna do in the future?
How do I know?
I love it. Pick a number 1 through 74.
Let's do 3.
3. I like this. Early numbers. Hey, Rick, what is one goal that you'd like to accomplish during your lifetime that you haven't yet?
I really don't have any goals. You know, I'm not trying to accomplish anything anymore.
Misty, what's one goal you'd like to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
I'd like one day to have a dog rescue or some sort of animal rescue. That's one thing I've always wanted.
Rick, there's something you gotta want to do still before your days are numbered out. Something, anything. Haven't you go somewhere that you've never been or do something you've never
I
done?
don't have the drive. I really, that really has gone away from me. I mean, if I was going to travel somewhere that, it might be kind of fun to see Italy,
There you go.
but I don't even care enough to do it.
The problem that I heard, I had a couple buddies go, and just the places you want to see, it's filled, packed tourists.
Yeah.
Like all the places that you want to call scene, whatever. Because I really wanted to go I want to go to Italy,
Yeah.
Greece, or I'd like that. But the tourism's there. Let's do one more round. Pick number 1 through 74, not 3.
69.
Oh, I know. I should know by heart. Everybody picks it.
They do.
What's your favorite tradition on a holiday? What's your favorite tradition or holiday?
Favorite tradition.
Or favorite holiday?
Boy,
Sometimes it can get dirty answers on these when they talk about traditions.
oh really?
Now, depending on who's sitting in the chairs. Yeah, really.
All right.
Yeah.
What's my favorite holiday? I'm trying to think. Probably the
Probably
4th of July.
That's a goodie. Tradition or holiday.
Freedom.
Heck yeah.
And with Janis Joplin, actually it wasn't written by her, but freedom's just another word for nothing left to
Nothing
lose.
Yeah, wasn't it Christopher Cross?
That's Christopherson wrote
Favorite holiday, I would say Christmas for the spirit of giving. I like seeing,
People get stuff.
yeah, that I give them.
Freedom isn't free. It costs a hefty freaking fee.
There you go.
All right, last one. Pick number 1 through 74, not 3, not 69.
Let's do 4.
4. When you were a little girl, who was your favorite superhero?
He-Man.
He-Man. You going to go see the movie? Or have you
Oh,
seen
I
it?
am. No, there's
It's a movie. Yeah, it's a big deal now.
Is it?
It's been popping up on all my little social medias every time I go to
Really?
log this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big. Favorite superhero when you're a young
Who
type?
plays He-Man?
Some no name.
it. Superman, of course.
So,
Kryptonite.
if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Why?
Yes, good. You answered it. You never answered that question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be, Misty?
Let's see, superpower. To see into the future.
There you go. Hey, if you could be any ice cream flavor, what would you be, Rick? Did you just call your band vanilla?
Maybe. I don't know.
I like vanilla bean. That's my
That's my
go-to.
favorite too.
I like vanilla bean.
Chocolate, mint chocolate chip.
Oof.
It's always a good one.
Misty, tell me about your gratitude.
I'm grateful for this meeting and this
Being a
opportunity.
fishbowl.
Yeah, I love it. I was looking forward to it all month. I think it's
Good.
great. Yeah, I'm grateful for this and for this opportunity and for another day sober.
Before I ask Rick about his gratitude, can I get you guys for the 26th of June? It's the last
I
Friday
think
of the
we're out of town.
Wait,
okay,
wait,
or the 19th.
Yeah.
On Juneteenth, it's called.
we're out that day,
Oh darn.
but I think we'll be back the next Friday,
Okay, so the
20 whatever day.
26th.
So
Yeah,
let's
I only
see.
have 2 Fridays next month,
Yeah, so
and that's
we
a biggie. We're doing step 12.
We will be around that day.
Okay, Rick and Misty on the show. Well,
Podcast. Who's playing? Sounds great.
okay, Rick, what's your gratitude look like on this fine evening?
I'm grateful for my puppies here.
He loves his puppies.
Nice. Okay.
We'll do same time.
Yes. Yeah. 6:30 Wednesdays at 2218 First Avenue South. Go on down to the Minneapolis Alano Club and hop into the 4-step workshop. Bring your sponsors, sponsees. It's a good spot to be.
Settle down.
Jumpy. I'm doing my outro. All right, I got you
You
drinking.
gotta reset. He's in the middle of it.
Next week, we'll see you. Kevin's going to be sitting in this chair. It's going to be an open show. So come on down. Doors going to be open. Anyone who wants to get on the Attitude for Gratitude podcast, the door will be open for you to come in here and share some of your experience, strength, and hope with Kevin. And that will be the first 2 Fridays of every month for the next 4 months. So I can go to the camper. Other than that, like if you're struggling, please reach out. You heard us talking about some solutions tonight. There's a lot of that out here in the metro area for meetings. You call intergroup if you're struggling to look for a meeting. There's a phone number going across the top of the screen. If you are having some self-harm thoughts, down 988. That's a suicide hotline. But it's also, I did call it. I did my research. I talked to someone there. You can just call and talk to somebody. They got volunteers that will answer the phone for you. It's just like an intergroup thing. So if you got family members going through it, give them that number. Other than that, you're loved, you're worth it. We'll see you next week. You won't see me for a few weeks, but love yous. Adios, amigos, byezies. Oh, thank you everyone who's checked in. If you're still listening, which looks like you guys are, thank you very much. Jess and Eliza and Dave and Paul and Frankie and Janice And if I missed you, I'm sorry. I didn't go back on comments. Bye, Z's.